Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish here with Jane and Mark. You said get to it, so I got to it.
You did. You jumped right into it, like
I
you
didn't
hopped.
jump.
No, you hopped to it like a ticker, or like you were on a pogo stick. You hopped in there like a bunny rabbit.
I would say Winnie the
probably
Pooh in a long
more.
time.
You haven't watched Winnie the Pooh in a long time?
No, and I love Winnie the Pooh. I have a blanket for Winnie the Pooh.
Been a minute, and I appreciate that because my sister, the one that had to Sparta kick whatever to make
The one
my
that's
oldest
smarter
be
than
alive.
you?
Yeah, probably now because she can just do hack whatever.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess I could too. I just gotta open up.
That's
Anyways,
fair. But today is May 7th.
Ooh.
What?
Because, well, what's silly is I didn't even think about it when I said on a scale of 1 to 10, ready to start the show, and I was like, I'm like a 7.
I know, that's what
I didn't realize how silly.
You're a silly goose.
Man.
Today is the final day of week 1 of Creation Awakens.
I made it the whole first week.
How have you felt being here?
Honestly, I like the new style. It's sweet because we get in and out really quick. So I have been able to do it, but I do miss sitting and listening to the stories and talking about. So at some point I would like to come back and possibly do that with you. And, for sure the readers, let us know if there's something that you guys are the readers, the watchers.
Right. I think that you might enjoy coming back some more this month.
Yeah.
Like this month is it's exciting. So
yeah, I'll come back every day. If I'm available, why not?
Yeah. And like I said, this week is all about Creation Awakens. Next week is the fertile earth. Ooh. So we get into like the fields, the animals, the moon, gardens, all that stuff. We get into week 3, which is the sacred body and desire. And we get into the dance, beauty, softness, birth. So it's a beautiful month, I think. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of, it just doesn't leave you wondering so much. We have a lot of stories that leave us kind of just bleh, right? These really don't. I like to think that they don't. And they all eventually lead back to life, right? So that's where they go. But I'm happy that you want to keep coming back because you're kind of cute. So today, though, with the final day, May 7th, is all about the sun. So we've already had a couple days. Yes, we've already had a couple days throughout this year where we've talked about the sun, right? So we know that the 2 suns, right, from the Aztec that jumped in. We know the sun gods, different deities, some that are pulling the sun, some that are chasing it, some are protecting. But today is all about the growth through light. So not so much any of that stuff, but really the growth that comes from the light and the sun and how we need the sun to grow. I kind of like it because reading the stories today was like a hand reaching out, like that hand that will always cover you, like when you need it. That's what the sun felt like after reading these stories, right? So like that little protection, a little bit of warmth, whatever it may be. And we get to see it through, I think, just 4 beautiful stories, 4 really good stories. But before we jump into those, and I guess I'll just tell you now. So they're Andean, Baltic, Egyptian, and Celtic today. But I don't know. I just like it because we go from Peru to Latvia, then over to Egypt, then to France. We actually get to see the Celtic roots in France a little bit today. Nice. So we get to see those. A number of them I had not heard of before, so I enjoyed that. But thinking of the sun and what brings life, what allows you to grow and shine, what nourishes you? That's our question today. So we're going to think about that as we do listen to the stories.
Okay.
But our activity is that we're going to stand in the sunlight for several moments, feeling its warmth directly. Enjoy it, embrace it.
Yes.
And we are going to also choose one source of nourishment and allow ourselves to receive it fully today.
I say fruit.
So That's funny that you say that because all week I've been doing that with the watermelon.
Really?
Like, that's why I said I like just having it out so I can nibble on it because I'm just like, I
I'm really
really,
glad
really like watermelon.
and I'm glad, like, it pleases my heart that you're not a big pineapple fan
Why?
because that means that pineapple's still in the fridge.
Yeah, that just made my mouth like,
So good.
I like watermelon, so
I know.
you can eat all the pineapple if you let me eat the watermelon.
Watermelon.
Yeah, because you didn't let me eat the booty cheeks of it.
So I forgot.
Go ahead and tell the people what you did. You're not even in there anymore. Here you go. Are you gonna come back in?
Well, I am, baby, if it allows me.
Anyways, now that Mark isn't here, we can speak freely and honestly about him. So I just have a question, and so do all the viewers. Do you always run from your responsibilities?
As in what?
Well,
Per se.
you were supposed to be here for the show, and then you just bailed out of nowhere. Just out of the blue, you were gone,
What can I say? I'm
and
like
then
water.
back in blue.
I just flow to and fro. What can I say when I gotta go? You never know when I gotta go.
But yeah, take one source of nourishment. Oh yeah, I'm glad that I can eat the watermelon.
I like watermelon too, but
I know, but if you eat more of the pineapple.
I wouldn't eat more. I would eat all of it.
Yeah, but you already know I can't eat all the watermelon by myself anyways. So by the time you're done with the pineapple, there's just enough watermelon for you to have a couple pieces.
True, and that's when it's like all juicy because it's been sitting there at the bottom.
Mm.
Just
I'm gonna take
my
some out
mouth
for
just watered.
tonight. Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Anyways, everybody, soak up the sun. You want to know what sounds good? Eating
Tell me.
some watermelon outside in the sun
Sun tea?
tomorrow. Having some sun tea.
Yeah.
Sun tea, watermelon. You can have your pineapple if you want, but I'm just gonna have my watermelon.
I think
Probably
that's
be sitting in a chair, relaxed back. Those ones that you bought us that fold back. I'm gonna do that while you're in the tractor and just watch you like this, because I'll have my sunglasses.
Oh,
Potential.
I was gonna say, hopefully you got your contacts in because otherwise you're blind.
You don't know my life. Anyways, enjoy these 4 stories, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow with week 2.
See you guys. Love you.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Inti, the sun that sustains the people. In the high reaches of the Andes, where the mountains rise like ancient sentinels, and the air carries both silence and strength, there came a time when the world, though formed in its valleys and peaks, awaited the force that would awaken it into fullness. The land stretched wide beneath the vast sky, its soil rich yet quiet, its rivers flowing without the rhythm of cultivation, its people present but not yet guided into harmony with the cycle of life. In this early age, Inti, the great sun, rose into his place, above the world, not merely as a distant light, but as a living presence whose warmth held the power to stir life from stillness. Each morning he emerged over the mountains, casting his golden light across stone and field alike, touching every surface with equal care. Where his rays fell, the earth responded. The frost withdrew, the soil softened, and hidden seeds beneath began to awaken. The people came to understand that this light was not passive, but active, not distant, but sustaining, for without it the world would remain suspended in quiet, unable to rise into growth. The mountains themselves seemed to receive him, their slopes illuminated as though they carried his presence, and the valleys below began to move in accordance with his path. Inti was not only the giver of warmth, but the source from which order entered human life. From him came the first great leaders, Manco Capac and Mama Ocleo, who were sent from his radiance to walk among the people and bring knowledge to the land. They rose from the sacred waters of Lake Titicaca, emerging as bearers of his will, carrying with them a golden staff, a symbol of both authority and guidance. They were instructed to travel across the land, pressing the staff into the earth wherever they went, seeking the place where it would sink fully, marking the center of their people's future. Their journey was not hurried but deliberate, guided by the unseen direction of Inti's presence, until they came upon the valley where the staff entered the ground without resistance. There they established Cusco, the heart of their civilization, a place aligned with the movement of the sun itself. Through their actions, the people learned to build, to cultivate, and to live in accordance with the rhythms of the earth, guided by the path of the light above. The teachings they carried were not separate from Inti, but extensions of him, for his warmth nourished the land, and his guidance shaped the way life would be sustained upon it. As the cycles of time unfolded, Inti remained constant in his passage across the sky, his presence marking the turning of seasons and the movement of life itself. The people came to know the times of planting and harvest by his position, understanding that their survival was bound to the rhythm he set in motion. They built great temples in his honor, the most sacred among them, the Kori Kansha, where walls once lined with gold reflected his brilliance, capturing his light and returning it in reverence. Offerings were made not in fear but in recognition, acknowledging that all life depended upon the warmth he provided. Even when he withdrew each evening, sinking beyond the mountains and leaving the world in darkness, his absence was not seen as loss, but as a part of the cycle that ensured his return. The night held its place, allowing the earth to rest, yet always with the certainty that dawn would follow. Thus, Inti became not only the source of life, but the measure of time, the steady presence that allowed the world to move in balance. In every field that ripened, in every harvest gathered, and in every life sustained, there remained the quiet and enduring presence of Inti, the sun whose warmth brought growth, whose light revealed the path, and whose constancy ensured that life would continue to rise from the earth. Story 2. Saule, the sun who walks the sky. In the ancient lands where forests stretch wide and the rivers wind through earth that remembers long winters, there came a time when the world, though formed in hill and field, required a steady presence to bring life into motion. The sky arched above in vast quiet, and the land below waited in stillness, its soil holding seeds that could not yet rise within the warmth that would awaken them. In this early age moved Saule, the radiant sun goddess, whose path across the heavens was not only a journey of light, but a sacred duty that sustained all living things. She rose each morning from the eastern horizon, her golden chariot drawn across the sky, its wheels marking the passage of time, its light touching every field and forest. Wherever her presence reached, the frost loosened its hold, the earth softened, and hidden life beneath the soil began to stir. The people looked at her not as a distant force, but as a living presence whose movement brought order to the world. For without her rising, the land would remain in shadow, and without her warmth, the seeds would remain dormant, unable to break forth into life. Saule's journey was not about burden, for she carried not only light, but the responsibility of maintaining balance between day and night, growth and rest, life and stillness. As she crossed the sky, her light was constant, yet her path charged the turning of the seasons, rising higher in times of growth and lower in times of retreat, guiding the rhythms of the world through her movement. She watched over the fields, ensuring that the crops received what they needed, and over the people whose lives depended upon the cycles she maintained. At the height of summer, her presence was full and abundant, her warmth bringing the fields to life, the grains ripened beneath her steady gaze. Yet as the seasons turned, her light grew gentler, and the days shortened, allowing the land to rest, to gather strength beneath the surface before rising again. In this way, Saule did not only give life, but preserved it, ensuring that the cycle would continue without exhaustion or loss. Even in the moments when clouds veiled her light or storms moved across the sky, her presence remained, unseen yet constant, guiding the world through its changes. At the close of each day, Saule did not vanish, but descended beyond the horizon, entering the unseen path that carried her through the waters of the underworld, where she traveled through darkness to rise again at dawn. This journey was as essential as her passage across the sky, for it ensured that light would return, that the cycle would not be broken. The people understood that her setting was not an end but a continuation, a movement that allowed the world to remain in balance. They honored her through song and ritual, recognizing that her presence sustained not only growth of crops but the rhythm of life itself. The fields, the forests, and the waters all moved in accordance with her path, each dependent upon the warmth and light she carried. In every sunrise there was renewal, and in every sunset there was a promise of return. Thus, Saule remained as both guide and sustainer, her journey across the heavens shaping the life of the world below. In every seed that rose, in every harvest gathered, and in every cycle completed, there remained the presence of Saule, the sun who walks the sky, whose light brings growth, and whose steady passage ensures that life continues to rise, season after season. Story 3. Aten, the light that gives all life. In the ancient land where the Nile moved in steady rhythm through desert and fertile plain, there came a time when the sun was not only seen as a distant light, but as the very essence of life itself, made visible each day across the sky. This was Aten, the radiant disk, whose presence was not shaped in human form but revealed in pure light, extending its rays across the world as hands that touched all things equally. Before its rising, the land lay in shadow, the river dimmed, the fields quiet, and the people held in the stillness of night. Yet when Aten rose above the horizon, the world was awakened, not gradually, but completely, as though all life responded at once to its presence. The light spread outward in all directions, reaching the waters, the earth, and every living being, giving warmth to the sun, illumination to the eyes, and energy to the growing things of the land. It was understood that without this light nothing could endure, for all life depended upon the daily return of the sun, upon the constant renewal that came with each dawn. Aten was not a distant form removed from the world, but an immediate presence, its rays extending downward in long lines that ended in hands, each one offering life to those below. The plants turned toward it, drawing strength from its warmth. The animals moved in accordance with its rising and setting, and the people structured their lives around its passage. The Nile itself, though fed by distant sources, responded to the cycles that Aten governed. Its flooding and retreat aligned with the rhythms of the sun's journey. In the time when Aten was honored above all other forms, he was seen not as one power among many, but as the singular source through which life was sustained, the visible force that nourished the entire world. Temples were built open to the sky, allowing the light to enter without obstruction, for it was believed that Aten's presence could not be contained within walls or hidden in shadow. Offerings were made in the open air where the rays could touch them directly, carrying them into the unseen. The people understood that the light did not belong to one place or one being alone, but moved freely across all lands, giving life without distinction. As each day came to its close, Aten did not disappear but withdrew from sight, moving beyond the horizon to complete its unseen journey, ensuring that it would rise again. The night held its place, allowing rest and stillness, yet always with the certainty that light would return. In this cycle the people found continuity, knowing that life itself depended upon the steady presence of the sun. The fields that grew along the Nile, the animals that moved across the land, and the people who lived among them were all bound to this rhythm, sustained by the light that returned without fail. The warmth of Aten was not only external, but carried within the living body, the heat that allowed life to continue, the unseen force that mirrored the sun itself. Thus, Aten remained as both visible and invisible, both above and within, a presence that connected all things through the act of sustained life. In every dawn there was renewal, and in every ray there was a quiet assurance that life would continue. The world did not stand apart from this light, but existed through it, each living thing dependent upon its return. In this way, Aten was not only the sun that rose in the sky, but the force that made life possible, the constant presence that nourished, sustained, and carried the world forward through each passing day. Story 4. Belenus, the sun that heals and sustains. In the ancient lands where rivers moved through deep valleys and forests stretched beneath wide and shifting skies, there was known a presence that carried both warmth and restoration, a force not only of light but of renewal. This was Belenus, whose name was spoken in relation to brightness and shining, a god of the sun whose power was felt not only in the sky above, but within the living body itself. In the early days when the world had taken shape yet required balance to sustain what had been formed, the light of Belenus rose over the land, steady and life-giving, reaching across fields and waters alike. His presence was not harsh or consuming, but measured and enduring, a warmth that allowed life to continue, that strengthened what had been planted, and that carried the power of healing within its rays. The people who lived beneath this path came to understand that this light was not distant, but immediate, something that could be felt upon the sky, something that entered the body and sustained it. As essential as breath and water, where his light reached, the land responded, and where it lingered, life grew in fullness. Belenus was not only the bringer of growth, but the restorer of what had been weakened. For his light carried within it a healing force that moved through both land and body. Sacred places were established in his honor, often near springs whose waters were believed to hold the same life-giving qualities as his light. These waters, warmed by the earth and touched by the sun, became places of renewal, where those who were burdened by illness or weariness could come to be restored. The people understood that healing did not arise from a single source, but from the joining of forces, from light and water, from warmth and rest, each playing its role in the continuation of life. In this way, Belenus was not separate from the earth, but worked in harmony with it, his light drawing forth what the land already held within it. The cycles of the year reflected his presence, most especially in the time of Beltane, when fires were lit across the land to honor the returning strength of the sun, marking the passage into a season of growth and abundance. These fires were not only symbols, but extensions of his presence, carrying his warmth into the human world, reflecting the greater fire that moved across the sky. As the days lengthened and the light of Belenus grew stronger, the land entered its time of fullness. The fields rising in green and gold, the animals moving with renewed strength, and the people living in accordance with the rhythm set by the sun's path. Yet even in this abundance there was an understanding that the light must be respected, for it was not a force to be taken without thought. The balance between growth and rest remained essential, and the cycles of the sun ensured that neither would overcome the other. Belenus did not remain fixed in a single state, but moved through the year, his strength waxing and waning, guiding the world through its necessary changes. His presence was felt not only in the height of summer, but in the quiet warmth that remained even as the seasons shifted, a reminder that life continued through both fullness and decline. The people carried this understanding, honoring not only in times of abundance, but in times of need, recognizing that his light sustained them in ways both seen and unseen. In every healing spring, in every fire lit in his name, and in every field brought to life beneath his rays, there remained the presence of Belenus, the sun who sustains, who restores, and who carries life forward through the steady and enduring power of light. Daily Thread for May 7th. Light awakens what waits below. Warmth calls life into motion. The sun sustains what it reveals. Growth follows the path of radiance. What rises depends on what returns. Balance is held in daily cycles. Life listens to the rhythm of light. All things flourish under its care.